Welcome back to the Berg podcast. Thanks for joining us today. With me today is Dan.
Hey, everybody.
And Ford.
Hey, how's it going?
And I think we're talking about perspective. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but I had something interesting happen the other day that I don't think we take enough time to stop and think about, right? So I mentioned it to actually both of you, but one of my friends sent me a text message, and it was cool. It was a little video clip, and it was his two young children, and they were standing outside of a construction fence watching our people work. It was a track hoe. We had a guy in a trench, and he said, like, "Hey, we're visiting one of your sites, and this is the coolest attraction here." Right. and it made me chuckle because, it's awesome. I love seeing young people who are interested in heavy equipment and machines. But I thought that, like, we get so stuck at times in the minutia of doing our jobs, right? Like our operators are good at what they do. They jump in the machine and they go to work. Our laborers good at what they do. PMs good at what they do, right? But none of us, oftentimes we don't just stand there and watch it happen and be like, that's so cool.
Well, and even just the things, right? Like the action is amazing in that scenario. And I have heard a similar thing about this job, right? In other words, this job is a focal point. We took it for a reason. It's really exciting. It's going to be amazing when it's done. And we'll be able to look back and talk about it and take a deep breath and step back and not be stuck in the job, but be able to look at it. But it's like being in a fishbowl. I mean, they are a display. Like, it's the craziest thing. I mean, and as we get back into the winter season, when this place really ramps up, millions of people are going to walk by and look at our guys working, look at what they do. But even the equipment itself, we lose sight of it. I mean, the other day we had the Elverson Parade, which the team did a great job on. Was amazing. I saw some videos of. And then I was fortunate enough, because of access, we did a trick or trunk that I took a small machine to. And Aaron walked up, and Aaron said, "You've made virtually no effort here. Like, you have the machine and the truck, and you have some decorations, and you put some lights on it. But look at everybody else's cars. The car sitting directly across from me, the guy is a set designer. Like, he physically brought part of the Star Wars set and set it up behind his car."
You were screwed.
Right?
It didn't.
Right? It didn't matter. Meanwhile, the guy comes over to me, and he's like, "Hey, this is the most amazing thing here. This machine is crazy. Like, I would never get to be near this machine." And we lose sight of that the same way we look at other people with different things, whether it be someone with, a really nice car or, a set or a band or anything you think about, an athlete. People look at this and they're like, I mean, the reality is people don't have track hoes.
Right.
They just don't. Like, people don't go home and say, like, "Hey, I'm going to play on my bulldozer." That just does not happen.
Yeah.
And we lose sight of that.
Well, you're inside of it. And, it's the same as anything, but you're inside your circle. And so you just don't, if we looked across America and we said the average is all this stuff, 2.2 kids, a dog, and a minivan, and 2 corporate jobs, like, they don't see this stuff.
Yeah.
When we're plowing snow, it's the same way, or when it's running a track hoe. But to us, it's every day. To us, it's the job. And so we just can't, there's not enough time in a day to sit there and be like, wow, this machine weighs 100,000 pounds, moves 3 cubic yards of dirt with every,
Right.
And a shovel moves X. It's not how. You can't stop and smell the roses. That's the reality of it.
Another time it happens with me, Brian, and we talk about it, is when I go to the beach, and one of the things I always did was I dig holes. So I dig holes for the kids, or now our friends' kids who are younger, and we dig pretty significant holes, safely, bench back and whatnot. But
that whole hole is 1 bucket.
Yeah. But that whole hole is 1 bucket of our smallest of our, like, we're not even talking one of the big track. We're talking an 80. I mean, the 80 with a digging bucket on, that's 1 scoop. You know what I mean? If it's 2 scoops, that's a giant hole. And then you get to, like, the 490 where we talk about, when Chad was running that job and we were running it in road trucks, and the bucket was, I think, 3 inches less than the truck width-wise. Like, you lose sight of it. And on these jobs now, where people are seeing it, we're doing another project on a farm job, building a barn and horse pasture, and you're in the middle of farm country. And I think it's being embraced in that area, partly because you're not building a house. Like, we're just building more horse barn and horse area, so the people are okay with it in that area. But they've commented, because it's more towards my house.
Right.
And they're like, it's just amazing. I mean, the equipment and what, it's Meanwhile, we look at it. I look at it, and what is amazing to me is the raw acreage that these people have, and it's a beautiful rolling hill with a creek at the like it's gorgeous,
Yeah.
right? And the people that live there that see that every day, they're like, this equipment is amazing. Whereas to me, I mean, the equipment looks cool because
Yes.
it's, if you put the equipment in our parking lot, it doesn't look that cool. You know what I mean? It looks like it's not going well.
It's an appreciating asset.
Giant paperweight.
Yeah.
It is definitely perspective, right? I think it happens probably in every industry, in all likelihood, and we just don't see it. But like if you ask somebody in the construction field what they do for a living, and they say, "Well, I work in construction," right? They don't say like, "You know what I do? I drive a $500,000 vehicle every day and change the landscape of the earth."
Right.
It's like,
Right.
I'm waiting for the first person to say that. That's going to be hysterical.
but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
like, you know, what do you do? Like, I drive some really cool stuff and I change everything that you've ever looked at, you know, like, you know,
It is crazy. I mean,
We gotta put that on our
when you
business
think about it.
cards.
right. Yeah. It's like, wow. I mean, that sounds like, you know, some superhero stuff, right? Like, and I'm sure like if you get creative, you can describe a lot of industries in terminology that way. But I think we do minimize it so often. We're like, yeah, I work for an excavation company.
Well, and I think we lose sight of the almost like just the pure joy of it, right? Like you take some of our guys who have just so many hours in the seat and they are so good and they've done it for so long. But at the core of that, in my head, I picture, you know, our friend's son Banks. He's like, I'm going to be a construction worker. This kid, he just for his birthday, he got a articulated truck, and he's towing this little wheel loader behind it that he's going to load dirt. It does not match. It's like trying to load a rock truck with a mini. But and I said that to him. I was like, you're going to have to get this kid a bigger loader now that you bought him this little rock truck thing. But this kid wants to do nothing more than play in the dirt with big equipment. You know what I mean? And so many people you run into with little kids, that's what they want to do. And our guys and us, we got to grow up and we get to live that every day. We get to, you know, even you don't get out as much as you always say, but
Yeah, right.
you get to go to a site and we're going to, you know, meet everybody and talk to them and bring sandwiches. And you're going to stand next to equipment that costs more than our houses.
Right.
You know what I mean? And can physically change the surface of the earth. Like, as you said, like really, I mean, like we'll just take a mountain out. You know, when we were at DCSWA,
Yeah. Right.
Justin literally dug the side of a mountain out and completely changed what it looks like. And you can see it when you're driving out on roads away. You can now see what he built is visibly different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you said back to that. It's like, you know, we always have those things. You like people ask you stuff and you always have those like deflective answers. And it's like, yeah, we play with Tonka toys with engines in them, right? I mean, that's like
Ford's notorious for this. First of all, and when they say act like an owner, I think to some extent we all act this way, right? Because this is Ford to a T. Like, well, Ford, you know, what do you do for a living? I was like, well, I haven't stopped playing in the dirt yet, right? It's like,
I'm just a grown up kid, you know.
He does it with everything.
big kids play in the dirt. Yeah,
he did it with something
he
else.
does it with everything.
He
Yeah,
did.
it's
Somebody
true.
I was with the other day. They were playing golf with Ford at some point, and Ford putts one handed. And he has a reason for it. It could be just to make you feel bad, but I don't think that's the reason. I think he feels like it gives him an advantage. But the guy said something. And he said, "Well, I don't take this game real seriously." Like, and I laughed because that's so Ford, right? That's how he approaches everything. Just stay very even keeled. We're not gonna. But he does it all the time with the equipment, you know. And that's going back to a long time ago. We had seen some really nice car driving by, and he said some comment about the car, and I said, "Well, you could have like 4 of those. We just got to sell a couple track hose. You know, yours are just."
They don't
yellow.
make money. Those cars don't make money,
The
though.
cars don't make any money. These
No,
heavy
no.
yellow things that are, you know, getting dented up, they make some money.
Yeah.
No, I think that we have to be, you know, it's part of it is, as we're getting back to this, but just the general sense of it. Like, you know, you're in the middle of doing something and you see a little kid there, wave at him. You're not saying you have to even like go talk to him, but just wave at him. It makes their day. I know you're in the middle of dropping a piece of pipe or dropping an
Right.
inlet in the
Right.
ground or whatever you're doing, but you know, just connecting with those people. And a lot of times we're on job sites with just construction people.
Yeah.
But I've seen it before. There's a bus stop across the street or a little minivan will pull down beside the side of the road and they'll just be watching, you know, whatever it is. And like a handshake or a hand wave takes 1/10 of a second,
Yeah.
but it's just connecting with that person and them getting to feel like they're closer to what
Right.
you do on a daily basis because, you know, they might watch it on some TV show or read the book Good Night Construction Site, but that's as close as a lot of people are ever going to get to doing the cool things that we get to do on a daily basis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they,
for sure.
you know, when they're we got to step back and have perspective and realize people might not be watching us because they're like watching us, right? Like we're in the industry, we're used to the engineers watching us, right? And the inspectors, and they're watching to make sure we're doing exactly what they want. And there's some friction there. But when you see a person, a kid, an adult, you know what I mean? This could be a guy in a really nice suit who works in an office all day, but as a kid, he really loved equipment. Now he's never going to own a track hoe and he's probably not going to dig a hole, but it might be really cool to him. And you might not read that. You know, I mean, one of the coolest videos I saw for it, have you ever seen the one, or Brian, where they're working in the street? It's a company working in the street doing some utility work. And a kid has set up like his little Tonka toys in his front yard. And he's like mimicking what they're doing with these Tonka toys. And as they get to the front of his house, he obviously talked to the parents. So the kid like pushes his Tonka truck, the dump truck, out into the street. And the guy takes like a little bit of the scoop and puts dirt into the Tonka truck. And the kid is so excited because he like got to be a part of this thing,
Right.
you know? And it wasn't even a giant machine. That's sort of what happened with that trick or trunk. It was a 303. This was not, I didn't bring a 290 or a 490. You know,
Right.
this is literally the smallest machine we have that I could bring. And it was still, it took people back. They were like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think we forget it at times. And that for me was a little reminder of, and hopefully for our guys too, that like,
yeah. So think about it. When you're out there and people are looking at you, think about it, that they could be wishing that they would be in your spot right in that moment.
Yeah. And it is fascinating work that we do, especially when you're not the one who has to sit there and do it every day.
Yep. For sure.
Cool. That was a quick one, but I think that was an important piece, and we hope you got something from it, and we hope you come back for another episode.